People often ask me when I do events around the world about my journey to becoming the 2021 World Champion of Public Speaking. They ask me, how did you deal with all the feedback that you had to receive in order to improve and adjust and change your speeches? And the honest truth was, it was hard. I found asking over 200 people to give me, and I spoke to thousands of people in my lead up to the contest, but I received over 200 pieces of written and verbal feedback in that 7-month journey. And it was pretty confronting. And this was where I really met my mindset. If you're familiar with Carol Dweck's work on mindset, you will know that when it comes to mindset, we have a fixed mindset or we can have a growth mindset. Now, a fixed mindset kind of believes your capabilities and your talents have got a ceiling on them. This is as good as it gets. And when you believe that about yourself, and this is very much an ego state where we don't want to look foolish, we don't want to fail. And so when we believe that this is as good as it gets, we ignore useful feedback. We avoid challenges, we give up when we encounter obstacles, we feel threatened by the success of others. On the other hand, when we have a growth mindset, this is where we know my talents and my abilities can be elevated. I can get better, I can learn, I can grow. And in this mindset, we embrace feedback because we know it's going to help us improve. We take on challenges, we find our way around obstacles, we're inspired by the success of others. And whether we like it or not, life can be a bit of a tug of war between these two mindsets, because if the fixed mindset is our ego, I believe the growth mindset is your soul, and it's asking you to become more and to grow. But that also involves potentially flirting with failure. And that's why it's so easy to come back here. In a speaking contest, especially an international speech contest, where you start in a field of 35,000 competitors from 149 countries in the world, and you start at your club level and you start going through the levels of the contest, the feedback becomes intense. And the ego, or certainly my ego, was trying to protect me. And it was telling me things like, you know what you're doing is great. They probably don't know what they're talking about. Just stick with what you're doing. And if I'd listened to that mindset, I would not have those trophies behind me right now. So what shifted? Well, by the time I got to the district level, so the Southern African level of the contest, it was a week before, and I knew that needed to be the best speech I was going to give, because whoever won that level went into a video round, and now there's 124 districts, and you don't know who the judges are, and you need to make sure you give an excellent speech if you win a district. And so I reached out to a former world champion, Lance Miller, the 2005 world champion, for coaching. He said yes. I was so excited. I arrived at the call. I couldn't wait. And then when he started telling me everything I needed to change, I witnessed this internal battle of not wanting to pick up my pen. I didn't want to write a note. It was like my ego was just sitting there going, Verity, Lance, he won in 2005. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Your speech is fine. You've won 3 levels of the contest. Just keep doing what you're doing. Thankfully, my soul was saying, Verity, he won the world championship. He knows what it takes. Listen to him. You don't have all the answers. And that was when I picked up my pen and I started writing notes. I rewrote that speech as a result of Lance's feedback. It got me to be a district winner. It got me to the world semifinals. And that's when I really had to make friends with feedback, because now I was practicing at clubs virtually all around the world, different cultures, different countries, checking if my speeches were landing. Was there anything they were confused by? Was there anything I needed to change? How could I fill in the gaps for my audience to strengthen the speech so that no one would be left wondering or confused or concerned by a sentence or a bit of word choice or some strange body language? But I had to ask for that feedback, and it wasn't easy to get. And some of it was pretty rough. And this was where I learned you have to learn to distinguish between feedback and opinions. And this is something Darren Lacroix and Mark Brown, also former world champions, speak about a lot. And I'd been watching their, webinars and listening to that. And then I was going, wow, they're right. Some people are giving me feedback that's going to help me improve. It's going to elevate my speech. It's going to take it to another level. And other people are just giving me their opinion. And I had some tough ones where people were sending me messages on Zoom, private messages going, you're never going to do this. You're crazy if you think you're going to win. Someone else told me that speech is average. And this was 10 days before the World Semi-Finals. And I had to pick myself up after those calls because I watched that fixed mindset come back in and go, just give up. Clearly you don't have what it takes. And luckily I could listen to this part of me that said, Verity, you've had some great feedback as well. You're putting in the work. Go back to your coach. Ask the professionals what they think. Listen to that feedback. Apply that. Adjust your speech. And just see how much you grow. And so my invitation to you is, especially if you're on a contest journey, don't avoid the feedback. Know how to temper it. Look for the themes in the feedback. If you hear the same thing from 4 different people from 4 different countries, chances are you need to change something in your speech. But if you hear something and you go, you know what, that's just their opinion and I'm getting enough positive feedback on this aspect, I'm going to keep it. Trust yourself. Work with a coach and a mentor who you can trust, who you know are trying to help you grow, and really notice where people are trying to keep you stuck. So this is not an easy journey. This is the most vulnerable, raw, and exposed you're ever going to be when you put a contest speech out to so many different opinions. But really see if embracing feedback, making friends with feedback, because you're there to fill in the gaps for your audience and deliver the most powerful speech you can, really see if that can take your speaking and your delivery to the next level. I will be forever grateful that I managed to take a lid of what I believed was possible for me. That I embraced growth, I embraced feedback, and I let that feedback elevate me to be the speaker that I am today. I'm Verity. If you need help taking your speaking to the next level, please get in touch, subscribe. I will keep you up to date with tips and tricks, but get out there, find your voice, find your power.